as well as General Caleb Akandwanaho, that is General Salim Saleh, chairperson UDF. Lots of guest speakers, that's just a bit of them that I've talked about, but it's starting today until tomorrow at Mestil Hotel. So head over there, especially if you are invited, make sure that you do attend. And speaking of matters economics, well, in a time where innovation is key to Uganda's development, one would indeed consider that Uganda's entrepreneurship sector is one that is very vital and depends on bold and steady visionary leaders. That's why today we are looking at the NRM Entrepreneurs League and wondering who should be endorsed. Now, 0709-602-592 is a WhatsApp number that you can engage and be in on the conversation. But you are in on the conversation because there's someone to speak to in studio with us, and that is Mr. Philip Kakuru, who is the Senior Presidential Advisor on Matters Trade, but he is also an aspiring leader, aspiring for the position of Chairman in NRM Entrepreneur League at the SEC Central Executive Committee. Good morning, Mr. Philip Kakuru.
Morning, how are you, ma'am?
Thank you so much for coming to UBC. And how is the season so far?
Hey, the season is an electoral season.
Yeah, sure.
It's heating up.
Right.
Ugandans have embraced this electoral process
Right.
in a much more vibrant and robust way than ever before. I don't know whether it's the COVID that the previous election, there was a bit of the pandemic, and this time around, there is a lot of enthusiasm, especially from the young people.
Right.
It's what we are reading in the environment. There is a lot of sensitization. So it's really, I can say, it takes us back to the 2016 kind of mood.
And I think that's positive, right?
That's a very positive mood.
When there's
That's
a lot
right.
of involvement.
That's correct.
But let's start from the ground. Who is Philip Kakuru? Tell us about yourself.
Philip Kakuru, like you've mentioned, part of my political and work.
Right.
But professionally, I'm a teacher he's a professional teacher. He's an accountant by training. He's a businessman by trade. He's a politician by passion and a diplomat by training. So it's one composed human being full of about 5 facets of life. A teacher, an accountant, a businessman, a trader, a politician, and now here with you in the studios.
Passionate politician is something that stands out for me. Passionate is passionate in line with politics, and a passionate politician. It's one thing that stands out for me. And let me stick there. You are you're aspiring for the position of Chairman, Entrepreneurs League at the SEC. And I'm looking at a bit of statistics here with the regional delegate conference results so far. And the latest results from the Regional Delegates Conference are as follows, showing that in the Central Region, Philip Kakuru is at 60%, Basaja Balaba 18%, Robert Rukaki 8%, Sanjay Tana 2%. And in the Eastern Region, Sanjay is at 40%, Philip Kakuru at 30%, Basaja Balaba 25%, Robert Rukaki at 5%. Looking at the Northern Region, Philip is leading there with 40%, as displayed on your screen there. Looking at the West Nile Region, Philip is still leading with 90%. Western Region, Philip is leading with 81%. So far, most of the regions you're actually leading is just one, Eastern Region, where you're just second. And allow me ask you, what is that you want to do different, that you believe has not been done by your predecessors for the last 20 years? I mean, the predecessors looking at Basaja Balaba, looking at Honorary Dr. Rukari, who's is the current league chair. Yes. What haven't they done that you want to do?
First of all, let's start that an Entrepreneurs League is the think tank of the government's economic policy. We are the NRM government. So when you look at an Entrepreneurs League, it should be like the cooking point for which policies that the government must implement.
Be right, yeah.
The NLM stands on 4 pillars, which is democracy, Pan-Africanism, patriotism, and socio-economic transformation. And in the last 20 years, our professor of African politics and the chairman of the party has been talking about socio-economic transformation, which is the economy in its superstructure. What should the entrepreneurs supposed to do? The Entrepreneurs League should be the limelight of what the economy should look like in terms of policy. For example, the government has been talking about PDM, our NRM government. It has been talking about Emyoga. But to my wonder, you find that the very leaders or the organ of the party that should be talking about this financial inclusion does not have the tools to talk about financial inclusion. You've mentioned the 2 leaders, Honorable Robert Lukali, the incumbent, who has been there for 10 years, as well as Honorable Basaja Baraba. These 2 leaders for the last 20 years have not even initiated a circle. Just a simple thing. You'll find that even in the rural areas where we all come from, there is a church circle, there is a workers circle, there is a youth circle. Everybody is talking about a circle. So, as Entrepreneurs League, you should lead by example. How can you lead an organization called Entrepreneurs League and you are the government in power and you don't have even a savings scheme? The other day I was telling a few of the delegates that even President Museveni was able to give money to the prostitute circle in Mbale. I think you saw it. So if he can give 100 million money to prostitutes to lead the process of economic inclusion, what has failed our leaders at the center of the NRM to create a circle for entrepreneurs? When you look at our entrepreneurs across the country, they are struggling with high interest loans from the money sharks, from the banks. Can't we talk about the circle? Imagine in the last 20 years, some circles I was seeing, there was a circles data that showed some circles are in billions of Ugandan shillings. What has failed us to do this as leaders of our party? Secondly, we are talking about ATMs as the driving force. The agriculture, tourism, mining, manufacturing, and services. This is what the National Development Plan talks about, and our Secretary of Treasury talks about it, Goba. Ramadan Goba tells you that if we talk about agriculture, agro-processing, we talk about tourism and manufacturing. How do you boost tourism when you cannot even have domestic tourism? It is surprising that you don't engage the entrepreneurs to even know their own country. When I come in, for example, I'm saying that all regions of Uganda, we shall be having an annual entrepreneurs conferences that deliberate on how we need to run the organization or how we need to run the country. We derive the ideas from the people. We expect that if 2026, the conference is in Kalamoja in Moroto, in a very good resort, the one in 2027 should be in Chisolo. So all delegates, the 735, should know that they are mountain gorillas. When we move Chisolo, the other one should go to Karangara. We know that they are fishing sites and what should be done with the fishing sites. We should move another one to areas of Solongo and see how coffee and teas, and we look at the coffee incubation hubs and the farmers, how they relate. In that way, you'll find that an ordinary entrepreneur, some of them don't know what happens in Alua and what happens in Chisolo. So that's when we do that, we shall be boosting domestic tourism. Our supplies, the members of the current league, when we asked them, the delegates, when we were moving around, that they said they last had a meeting in 2015 when they voted the leader. And I said, how did this come up? It was reflected when the government was introducing a new tax system, the IFRIS, which all of you heard about. That how does it come that even members of the NRM party were part of the people that wanted to see the President Museveni in Kororo also booing the president? You can imagine. Where was the Entrepreneurs League that should have really convinced all business people in the NRM, sat together with them, and had a conversation to say, what will be the impact? The league should be a litmus paper or a pilot project for the NRM to say, how do you feel about the tax that is coming through? What is your take? Then they look at the deadlock areas. They invite the people we've deployed in government. We are the government. We've deployed commissioner generals. We've deployed ministers. We've deployed people in members of parliament, in parliamentary committees. We call them as a party, as Entrepreneurs League, to say, we need an explanation. What is happening? How does it go about? Then when you convince us, it means that you have convinced the general public. In that way, if we do not understand, then we consult our party chairman, who happens to be the commander-in-chief. Then the commander-in-chief would give guidance. I would relate this to the parliamentary caucus by the chief whip, that an NRM, when there is a contentious issue on the floor of parliament, it is tabled amongst them. If not well resolved, they go to the commander-in-chief. That man is a professor of African politics, understands Uganda very well. We engage him, he's our party chairman, so that we can lobby and negotiate and engage to what position this can be. This should have curtailed all this fracas we saw about IFRIS. But this did not happen. What do you find to be the answer is called strategic leadership. And that's what I've come in to solve. That we must provide our party some form of strategic leadership. As a revolutionary party, there are some things that we must copy from other revolutionary party members. When you look at, for example, the CCM in Tanzania, or you look at the CC in China, the Communist Party, you'll find that the party and the government are intertwined. You go to government to implement the party position. When you move, the Chinese, when they move to go look for business in Uganda, elsewhere, they move with the Communist Party members to get benefit. Some of the fellow of the Chinese that you see here, these are veterans or members of a political party. You go to South Africa, you look at the business arm of the ANC was the one that emanated, that was able to formulate what you call the black economic empowerment, the Triple BE, that has created the first black billionaires like Patrice Motsepe, the Cyril Ramaphosa, the Gumedes. You come, the most recent example was Donald Trump when he had a visit to the Middle East. You saw the man who went with the business people into a business trip, because what we are doing at the Kalen is called commercial diplomacy.
Right.
It is negotiation.
Right.
So have you had any single time, whether it's an exhibition of trade fair in Dubai, a trade fair in South Africa, a trade fair in London, a trade fair in the US, give me one member of the Entrepreneurs League who has traveled with a minister or a president. This is what I want to do, that the business of government and the party are intertwined. And lastly, we have our members at a district level. We are the party in charge. Why can't businessmen be able to participate and get tenders as a party? Because that's the only way the government can generate what? Party. This happens with whether Republican Party or Democratic Party. The members who are affiliated to these parties generate money and do business and donate on their proceeds to the ruling party. In that way, we should have created a clear, sustainable framework for our ruling party in terms of that. That's what is expected from the Entrepreneurs League. All this has not happened.
Right. That is Mr. Philip Kakuru, and he wants to see a business and economic environment with strategy, and it's what he wants to implement if he is voted as the chairman of the Entrepreneurs League in the SEC, that is the Central Executive Committee. And what we're talking about really is the NRM Entrepreneurs League is on, and who should be elected, who should be endorsed. In studio with us is Mr. Philip Kakuru. He is the Senior Presidential Advisor on Matters Trade, but he is also aspiring for the position of Chairman, Entrepreneurs League at the SEC. If you have questions for him, 0709 602 592. To engage and ask him all the questions that you need to ask as he shows you his ability here on UBC TV. Now, Mr. Philip Kakuru, let's look at the recently concluded NRM structure elections. What is your view on what transpired?
Ugandans have exercised their democratic right. We've all been seeing the kind of enthusiasm that I talked about, how the young people have participated in these elections than ever before. There is a serious paradigm shift that when you look at the voters that voted in 2021 COVID, that were 16, they are now 21. those that were 14. So about 65% of the voters were young people below the age. You could stand and look at the ages, people between the ages of 50 and below. So there is a generational shift from the old guards to the new guards. As I hear our colleagues on the other side of the aisle with the red berets talk about generational mix, I can tell you that there is a generation of young leaders that are coming out of the NRM. I saw how one of our elder statesmen and an ex-official of cabinet, Professor Kamuntu, was defeated by a young man of a school teacher.
In fact, staying on that particular point, what do you think it means?
It means that the young people want to take on the space from the old guards and they mentor them when they are still here. So there is a generational shift within the NRM that the young people have taken. So the delegates conference you're going to see in November, in August, it's going to be not business as usual. It's a totally different crop of Ugandans. It's a totally different group of leaders that you are going to see. Young leaders that are really coming to salvage the organization. There were issues they were talking about like corruption. Why can't we look for leaders who are beyond reproach with some level of integrity? You know, like one of our PLU cadres and the patron or the chairman of PLU, General Kinerugaba, talks about corruption. And you've been seeing the youth talking about corruption. So the youth want clean leadership. People with no dirt. Let you not be compromised. Because you see, when you have issues of integrity, you cannot lead people with straightforwardness, with confidence. But when you have integrity, you can stand on top of the constitutional hill and say, no, we don't want corrupt practices. So it is that the youth are saying, we want to take on our space. They want to claim their space. They don't want to be given a space. They want to claim their space through a democratic process. And this is what they're exercising. Secondly, people who are saying the NRM registers were flawed and exaggerating numbers, I can tell you, people were fighting to get inside these stadiums, inside these playgrounds, to vote. And that tells you that the NRM is still the most popular party on the ground.
Right. Very profound there. The number to engage is 0709602592. You are such an amazing speaker, and I got stuck in the art of your speech. But you've hinted a little on what to look forward to come August 2025 at the National Delegates Conference. What should we expect? I mean, the roadmap as we look forward to the roadmap for MPs, mayors, councillors, national delegates. What exactly should we expect?
What you should expect, number one, it is a group of young, enthusiastic NRM supporters, a whole breed of a generation mix. I can tell you that conference will be dominated 65% by people below the age of 50. I was actually thinking that we could talk about amending even the youth bracket to bring it to about the age to maybe about 30 and below, not even 35. Because the young people want space in the decision-making of our government, in our party. And if we don't allow this as a party, and we field candidates of not the generational element out of it, we can have an upset from different groups of people that are bringing the generational agenda. So we should embrace that. Right. Secondly, the delegates conference will reflect on issues of integrity, because corruption has become a problem in terms of service delivery. Every Ugandan you talk to, whether you come from Yumbi, you drive to Bugisu in Elgon, you drive to Fort Portal, you drive to Solo, the people are saying corruption. Who brings corruption? We are the ones who are corrupt. And there cannot be corruption without the corruptor and the corruptee. So it means that we need to change our position as a people to make sure that we fight this vice together. How do you do that? It means that society should bring people of integrity. So I see that integrity and values could be one of the issues. The anti-corruption crusade might be one of the issues, because the youth feel that the economy is not working for them, the economy is not absorbing them more because there is corruption. Thirdly, I am seeing the focus of the conference will be on a private sector-led drive, and that's why I'm coming in to say that I want Entrepreneurs League, because Uganda as a country has only 480,000 jobs, including yourselves. We are 46 million people, for God's sake. Now, how can 46 million people compete for 480,000 jobs? Now, it means that we must create a robust private sector. A private sector that is in agriculture. How do you create jobs along the agriculture value chain? From the farmer up to the end. We've not captured and taken advantage, for example, the opportunities available. In the issue, on the agenda of Pan-Africanism as one of our 4 pillars, President Museveni talked about integration when he came in 1986. We have a market in East Africa of about 300,000, of about 300 million people. We've enacted the law of Africa Free Continental Trade Agreement. In the region, Democratic Republic of Congo, just our neighbor here, imports eggs from Spain, imports bottled water from France, imports beef. But Uganda, which is here in Kasese, we can be able to set up beef abattoirs and be able to supply the beef to Congo at a cheaper cost. You can find somebody who can produce poultry. That's why I'm talking about, I feel cheated that Entrepreneurs League cannot have a circle, because entrepreneur members of the league should be borrowing money from this circle that they are able to put up. And you lead by example if you're private sector. That's when I'm saying that if I am elected in August, the 8th at Nambole, I am putting 100 million in an entrepreneur's circle of my own money so that the president can add on. We must live by example. I'm putting 100 million and establishing an entrepreneur's circle from me,
right,
as I, Philip Kakuru. So I want us to look at the markets. I'm trying to show you where we're going to get the jobs. The jobs are in DRC. We get poultry farmers, produce poultry, the market is across. Let's take advantage of the people in DRC. The conflict in northern Uganda, the conflict in Sudan. So the people of northern Uganda can take advantage and supply the eggs, supply the food to South Sudan. Now, the most important thing is this. I always tell, as an economist, and what I learned at the Harvard Business School in management, like I told you, I'm a teacher, I'm a businessman, I'm an accountant, and I'm a fellow who's training now in diplomatic studies, measuring security, strategic security studies of a country. That's what I'm studying my second master's about. Security of a country is based on its economy. When the economy, the nature of the economy determines the country's socio-economic issues. The youth whom you are saying don't like government, the youth who are on the street, the children from Karamoja you see on the street begging, I can tell you, fix the economy, you're going to fix the social problems. These issues of inequality and people feeling that there is no social cohesion. Fix the economy, you're going to have social cohesion. It is clear that where economies are functional, there is less issues of social conflict. You fix the economy, there is no insecurity because people have what to say. When I was a young man, we had a minister who used to say in Uganda, "Wali day, olina abana." He was called the Vidandisari, Minister of Local Government. At the end, he meant if you have a stake in the economy, some form of business, you will not be able to destroy the economy that feeds you. In terms of military security, a country when the economy is stronger, the military is stronger. It's so basically I'm talking about an ecosystem. And this ecosystem, this policy is born and bred within the governance party issues. So we must have people that are able to look beyond their selfish interests and look at developing a country alongside the President Museveni's agenda.
Right.
Thank you.
You did talk about, you've really indeed mentioned a bit of what you envision for the Entrepreneurs League come 2026 into 31. And some of it is having circles for the Entrepreneurs League, promoting domestic tourism through the entrepreneurs of the country, engaging young people of Uganda the more to be in the field, hands-on in the economic growth of the country. What more of the visions do you have when it comes to the Entrepreneurs League 2026 to 31?
We need to train our people and prepare them the business. Business has changed shapes and form. Business has evolved. There is a digital economy that is running. I think you've heard about Bitcoin. You have about e-commerce. Can we sell our goods? I think when we were growing up in the 90s, I can tell you that there was no Uber. There was no Airbnb. There was no Jumia. There was no Amazon. So the world has gone digital. So as a skills training provider, I'm saying we must purpose our economy to be able to enter into the fourth industrial revolution. You don't need to run a shop physically to sell clothes. You don't need to run a shop physically to sell items. We know that banking, for example, has transformed into digital.
Online, yes.
Mobile money, e-wallet, e-services. That's why we talk about ATMs. That's the driving force of our economy, where we are talking about the threefold, the $500 billion target, in the threefold that Secretary of Treasury Goba talks about all the time. How do you transform an economy from a 48 billion to a 500 billion? Agricultural value addition, which is a ATM. ATM stands for agricultural value addition. Tourism. You cannot talk about tourism when domestic tourism cannot be there. I will come up with initiatives like short left, short right. Are you in Kampala? Short right, go to Jinja and see the waterfalls. Short left, go to Masaka and see the Kalangala. Short left, go see the gorillas. Short left, go to the Marshall Falls. So that we first boost domestic tourism. How are you going to boost domestic tourism when you yourself, you don't know what is from the nose to the mouth? Just from Jinja, you find a delegate. I could find a delegate in Diplamu or Budaka. The delegate doesn't even know that Masaka, well, there is a place in Masaka where there is a beach. So we need to train the youth, skill them, and purposefully set them for the fourth industrial revolution, or what we call AI. And we look at what is it can do. Digitalized, teach learners, robotics. Let's infuse the education system into the business. Then we shall have an ecosystem that runs, absorbing the fourth industrial revolution.
Right. The number is 0709602592. It's a WhatsApp number that you should engage and ask Mr. Philip Kakuru your questions. He is the Senior Presidential Advisor, Matters Trade, but he is also the aspiring chairperson of the Entrepreneurs League at the Central Executive Committee. And coming into a bit of the questions that have come through so far, the very first one comes from Okodel, and you said that, moderator, the honorable there demonstrates a lot of energy, but his energy may be backed by egocentrism. Several leaders have come out with the same energy, but have been subdued by the power of numbers than objective thinking like he has, especially in the yellow camp. What would you tell this gentleman here, called Richard Mukalu?
Thank you, Comrade Richard Mukaru. You know, there must be a start. I know he's worried about the great ideas that they might die in Nambole, where they will be compromised by
numbers.
By the numbers he's talking about. These numbers, what has happened? I understand that people have been bought. One thing that my party has failed to do is ideology of the membership. I need to teach. My job will be, and I am convinced that we need to send the rightful message to the people. I use the analogy of a baboon that lived with a snake. The baboon and the snake lived together for some time. One time the baboon the snake did bite the baboon on the leg, and the baboon was able to heal itself because it rushed to a witch doctor and they put that stone and it sucked the poison. Then they lived together. One afternoon, they were crossing the hot road on the other side. The baboon this time around was deliberate, focused to liberate and help their children, because where they lived, it had gone dry, there was no food. So it was going on the other side of the road to fend for their children. Target, you know, like when you're focused going to the place that you don't need any distraction, you're a mother, you've left your children hungry, you are going to the market. The objective is, I am going to the market. The cunning snake met it on the road. It was too hot. The cars were driving right, left, and center, and it was too hot, and the snake has to scroll on the tarmac. But it knew by the time it crosses, it will be dead. The baboon said, but I am rushing to go fend for my children on the other side. And remember, you did bite me last time. I can tell you that the baboon was hesitant. But the snake, with its cunning nature, you know, for all Christians, the snake tempted our mother Eve and ended up in sin. The snake said, if you give me a chance this time around, I promise you, I will not bite you. Just put me on your back, because the baboon had no alternative. He says, but please, promise me that you're not going to bite me. Because the last time you did bite me on the leg, I was lucky that I had to find a witch doctor who was close to me and was able to diagnose and take the poison out. But I was on the other side. Now I'm just going for this time to fetch for my children, and I come back to the car, to this side where there is no food. Says, I believe you, believe me, whatever has happened before, this is the only chance I have to survive. Promise me, put me on your back, and I cross the road, I will never bite you again. Do you know what happened? The baboon subdued to the cunning snake like Eve did to the cunning snake. The baboon put what? The snake on the back. And the snake this time around did, after crossing the road, it did bite the baboon right on the neck, so that the poison can go straight to the head quickly and the heart. And when the baboon asked, but you've bitten me again, he says, I am sorry. It's my nature. That's how I behave. So I believe that some of these analogies I'm applying is that we've seen them. We've lived with them. We complain they've not delivered. We complain they did this to us. And we want to give them another chance. Colleagues, I can tell you, let's ideologically think where we need before we think about the other logistics that will sway the vote. I submit, colleagues.
Very interesting analogy there. And Buchwezi of Murema Universe, you always send audios, but we're unable to play the audio. So please type your message. We'll be able to read it and give you feedback as rightfully so. And good morning, UBC. This is Isaac Mukama of Mengo. True, those who claim to be big in the party don't leave office to interact with the ordinary party supporters down here who suffer the most, convincing people to join the party, yet they are not supported by only remembered during elections. And that's why they are fighting those who don't support them to occupy their place of their own benefits and survival. I think Simple Isaac is Isaac Mukama is adding to your analogy.
And I want to talk to Isaac Mukama there. That actually, that is the vice we have come to solve. My leadership approach is a bottom-up approach. Because what has happened in the last 20 years, I don't know who are the leaders there, who are leading the league. They were using the top-bottom approach because these leaders would secure the position and get all these tenders and deals you've heard about. The markets, the what for themselves. But I am saying to do a transformation. Because you see, to transform a society, you need to get it from the bottom. I have said we need to make sure that this LC5 chairman gives a tender to the Entrepreneurs League member in the district. The tender must be paid for when I've supplied services, not to delay my payments. Because the other people to the top, we know we all lived here around 2001, 2006. Hey, 54 billion. 56 billion. We all have data. You were seeing them. You know them. The people who are in the league at the top bottom, they were taking billions and billions. I understand at one time I had, was it 65 billion? Then I saw the trailer from Ruzira coming from Entebbe, going to taking a person to Ruzira. I said, at 65 billion has disappeared, what has happened? But There is a new word in the city that I have learned. It is in Uganda. Batikula. Batikula. If the leaders are at the top, batikula. What happens to the grassroots, this delegate?
Right.
So that's why I'm saying that we must be accountable. I've told you that there has not been an entrepreneurs league meeting for all delegates. Is true. For members, somebody from 2016 the entrepreneurs league has never had a meeting. That's why they could not even have a conversation about IFRIS, a new policy that affects the business people. I am saying, to be accountable to the people, we shall have we shall have an annual conference of the delegates of the entrepreneurs who will be engaging with government every year before even the budget is read. I will write to Comrade Rujochi in URA, in UNBS, call the committees of finance, of trade, of investment, so that we engage what is coming to ourselves. Right. Whether it is taxes, whether it is opportunities of trade, whether it is opportunities. Are you aware that a Ugandan with 300 million invested in manufacturing, he gets a 10-year tax rebate? You think the investors are there? It's just $100,000. But are we telling our business people to have this knowledge? Are we telling our business people the opportunities we've done all these trade shows from Dubai into the people in Buarabu, in Dubai, they are looking for goat meat. Can we rear goats? Are we telling our people, educating them that indeed the entrepreneurship can be the driver of the party economic policy? So when you meet these sectors, they will understand how people feel about. Don't increase VAT or don't bring this tax, it will have this impact. I give you my proposition, you give me yours. Because my view, my leadership model is simply based on 4 issues. Number 1 is communication. How are you going to have communication if you are not engaging your leaders? There are 4 sinews of life. Communication. How do you represent the people that you cannot be able to engage? Where do you get the views? Where do you get the ideas? How do you know what kind of sectors they are involved in? Like now, all the delegates who have come out, I am sending a list of a form to identify your sectors. And we are able. We go look for markets, for example. My job and mandate is to look for investors to come to the Republic of Uganda and lobby and to make sure that the producers of Uganda or the people of Uganda are purposefully knowing what the investors want. Some people don't have even bank statement, rather audited financials. How do you convince an investor to partner with him when you don't have audited financials? So you prepare the business people to know that these are things that are needed where it is a bank. Are you aware that people don't know that it is the Uganda Development Bank that gives loans at a cheap interest rate of 3% in UDB? They are dying with money lenders and banks at 17%. Why are we going there? The East African Development Bank. Are you aware if that we had the circle, we can appeal to government to give us a government guarantee that we secure cheap loans from African Development Bank, ADB, with a 3-year, 0 tax or interest? These are things that we should be telling business people to take on, and then we transform the economy. Right. Not us to go there and we want to do what? To pursue our own businesses and tenders. So this is the kind of new leadership that is coming. That is Mr. Philip Kakuru. He is the aspiring chairperson of the Entrepreneurs League at the Central Executive Committee, that is for the NRM, and is in studio with us. What we are really talking about is the NRM Entrepreneurship League. Who should we endorse? And he is here to let you know of what, as he is aspiring to be the chairperson, what he has in plan and he has already planned to put in place for you as a delegate. And speaking of which, given that you're the aspiring chairperson, take us through the 2026-31 NRM manifesto. What should we expect? Number 1, increased participation of Ugandans into the money economy. And this will be that there will be more money availed to people through PDMs, the 4-acre model, the Myoga, and I have pledged that I will engage the commander-in-chief of our party to make sure that at least I heard there was $100 billion for the entrepreneurs. I want to pursue that to make sure that if there was that pledge of $100 billion that he gave for the entrepreneurs, be the drivers, I want to make sure that it becomes fulfillment. This $100 billion is distributed to all the 147 districts and 11 cities of our country to the business people to be able to move. So I am seeing a continued engagement of Ugandans of the government approach in boosting tourism as one of the drivers of the economy, to increase on the number of tourists into the economy so that we can get forex, and embarking especially even on the Ugandan diaspora to boost, as well as the domestic tourism that I've talked about. One of the issues that I want to propose in that area of domestic tourism, we must introduce what we call a tourism center. For example, you see at the Uganda Museum, you put up a tourism center and information whereby if a tourist arrives here, he knows what is in X, Y, Z, and each part of the country. When I go right, what do I find? When I go north, when I go east, when I go south. And these centers should be duplicated in all the major cities or centers. In Guru, in Mbale, in Mbarara, the major centers, in Masaka. What is it when I get in a city? Secondly, we want to link our resources with the economy. For example, you know that if you're a mother, we know formula that the children take. We import formula, but the largest ingredient of formula is cow milk. Farmers have been crying of the prices of low prices of milk because it is not processed or powdered. We import milk from formula from Australia, from New Zealand, but we have the same cows here. So if we can process this milk and create formula, I did a research study that we can save the 80,000 children who get infected of HIV from breastfeeding. Because a child is born free of HIV, we can thank the President Museveni more than we can thank him that the mother-to-child infection was done. But we are now subjected to a situation where a breastfeeding mother gets transmit HIV to a child who's born free. So if we set up a factory for formula using this, we are likely to create about 50,000 jobs. We know, for instance, that there is an issue of energy efficiency. These borders that are polluting our environment, there is money available that was allocated under COP 28, COP 29, that of energy. So everybody is talking about renewable energy. So we need to talk about borders with some bit of retrofits that are energy efficient, or what you call EV. And this can be done by manufacturing batteries. For example, in Kasongola, you create more jobs and do the retrofit of the energy vehicles or energy motorcycles with this. So there is a linkages, Chief, that I know that we can transform this economy. In 5 years of entrepreneurship, I can tell you that I can guarantee you can create 1 million jobs. If given a mandate, you know.
Now, let me engage more of your comments. That is on 0709-602592 that you have for Mr. Philip Kakuru, who is the Senior Presidential Advisor on Matters Trade, but he is also the aspiring chairperson for the Entrepreneurs League in the NRM at the SEC. And K&O Group, this is Peter Okello, all right. Thank you for including your name. You say, this gentleman is, this guy is just a gentleman. Plus, I need his, you need his contacts. You say you are a youth from northern Uganda, stuck with a business of 2.5 billion. He really has good, brilliant ideas. And Eperu Dominic says, I see you are a strong convincing electorate, but my question will stand to you towards, because we will stand, I think you say towards, because of most cases you find yourselves fighting. Oh, okay. He says that most of those who are contesting end up fighting for their stomachs. And yet he feels that you're convincing. That's his submission.
Thank you.
Anyways, this is Muganda Muzamil, and you say government and NRM party should help SMMEs, yes. This is what he says. And thank you for the show, moderator. You say, this is Philip, And okay, you say Philip is sober in all he's doing. How can I get you, Philip? All right. Let's look at, thank you, moderator. This is Yahweh from Deje. How do young entrepreneurs join the league? Because we need assistance to go on. Help answer.
How do young entrepreneurs join the league?
Yahweh,
the
yes.
exercise has just ended. Okay, it's still ongoing. I can say 80% of the districts have already voted, with the exception of a few, like areas like in Kampala. Rubaga hasn't voted. I think Luelo. Okay, we are finalizing. It's a few glitches that are there, but I can say 90% we can say we're in. You should have registered your business with the Uganda National Chamber of Commerce and Industry as a member, and it is that certificate that could have enabled you to contest both at national and as well as at a district delegates conference. And each district selects 5 members. The voting selects 5 members or entrepreneurs who come to the national delegates conference. We have 147 districts in Uganda. Probably he should look for the nearest district or cities. The cities are 11 which are added on.
Right.
So the 5 delegates are the ones that come to the delegates conference. But the number 1 prerequisite is to make sure you're a registered business, and the registered business, Uganda Registration Services Bureau, and you register with the Uganda National Chamber of Commerce and Industry or any other relevant chamber. There are about 15 that he can register in to be able to participate in the electioneering of this process.
Right.
To the gentleman of the 2.5 billion, just pray for me when I come. Like I said, I will secure the 100 billion I had, which Mzee wanted to give, and I will pursue it to make sure that we are able to give businesses a revolving fund, because business is the blood stream of the government. Without the business, there is no economy, colleagues. So we should be focused and deliberate. There are 3 words I use: deliberate, intentional, and radical, to kill this vice that they are worried about in Nambole. That the numbers and the gimmicks that we hear that play, the underhands. We should be radical, and as youth, if we are deliberate, radical, and intentional, we can stop this vice of corruption. Let's live by example. And this is what President Museveni talks about every day.
In that same spirit, Alinite, where Patrick comes through and says, good morning, UBC. When people go into those leadership positions, they are silenced by pressures from those above. He has good plans for Ugandan traders, but how is he going to ensure that he will not be failed?
How will I ensure that I will not be failed? You see, the system has been working differently. I will integrate the Entrepreneurs League formation into my office as the SPA Trade, and I will make sure that I do coordinate at my office at State House this Entrepreneurs League to first get it away from the sharks. Abatikuzi. Njange njagala njitikuleyo. And I bring it to my office so that we can have a clear efficiency. 2, my mode of engagement, I'm going to get sectors, districts in sub-regions, that I come to you, we look at businesses, we profile them, and we see which businesses, like I said, I will be going through all the country now. I just moved exhausted. But come next week, I'm starting to move again to make sure that we hear the views of the people, the specific industries of the people in those areas. 95% of our businesses are informal sector. How do we get informal sector? If the business is the same, we aggregate the farmers in the same business, increase volumes, create standards of the goods so that we can look for markets based on the quality of goods and standards. Then from there you can go to UNBS and say, here are the farmers, 50 of them, aggregated, producing simsimu. How can we purposefully set them to send the simsimu to Europe, to UAE? If they are farmers of Boer goats, how can they merge together? If they are fishermen in Nakasongola, in Kalangala, how can we improve the quality of fish, freeze it so that it is ready for export, because tilapia is a popular fish in the European markets? there is a very good concept that I have here.
Right.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, Philip. This is Onzima Albert from Arua. You talk about transforming the economy, but taxes are high. Now, how can youth develop when taxes are high?
Thank you, Mr. Onzima from West Nile. The taxes are a problem because you have not had a platform for the last 10 years or 20 years to discuss the tax system. That's why I'm saying I'm creating a communication channel whereby before the budget of the country is ready every July, we shall have sat with the finance committee, the budget finance committee, we shall have sat with URA, we shall have sat with UNBS, we shall have sat with stakeholders, and we're gonna do this at a regional level to make sure that our leaders are accountable to us. I can say this again, the people you see in government, they are cadres and deployees of the revolution. So at SEC, we shall have the ability to sanction, to summon our cadres that we've deployed to be accountable to the people. We must increase accountability and efficiency within our party.
Right. Now, Henry Okodoy from Tororo, you come through. I think a part of your question has actually just been answered, and that is the issue of tax. But you say that, thank you for hosting Kakuru. I am Henry Odoy from Tororo. My simple question is, what happened to the entrepreneurship philosophy of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda? I will stop at that because the tax question has been answered.
Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. How do you know what is Ugandan when the businessman in Masaka doesn't know what is produced in Mbale? When the businessman in Alua doesn't know what is produced in Chisoro? They only meet at the delegates conference, changa, 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 they are done. You'll never see them again, come after 10 years. Solve this problem. Let's elect Philip Kakuru, who's gonna create a platform of engagement. We shall have a platform of engagement, and these discussions, we shall bring the key stakeholders that can be able to answer this. Because a tax system must consult the public. And we as a party who are in government, we must be the very first focal point of engagement to act as the litmus paper of what the public feels about us.
Right. Now, many of your comments are coming through, but time is not on our side, and we need to get a few things out of the way. Mr. Philip Kakuru, 2021, the slogan for the NRM at that time during the campaigns was securing the future. What should we expect for 2026-31? What is the slogan?
Choose the best is President Museveni. Settle for the best, Entrepreneurs League, the best is Philip Kakuru. So we shall settle for the best.
All right.
Yes.
And that is Mr. Philip Kakuru. He is the Senior Presidential Advisor on Matters Trade, but he is also the aspiring chairperson for the Entrepreneurs League in the NRM that is at the Central Executive Committee. And once again, speak into August 2025, because that's where the
delegates conference.
The delegates conference, and that's the most important day for you.
That's right.
Yes, please speak into it. What should we expect? Who should be there? What should they do?
The country is all under a process of electing leaders at all district levels, and especially members of the NRM party. Because when I say the country, some people might not be NRM, but we are the power. We are in charge of the republic. So when NRM exercise takes place, you realize that the earthquake that comes with it, the tsunami. So the whole country is in a process of electing structural leaders, which process we expect that it should be through by the end of this week or latest next week. We embark on the electoral process of the members of parliament, the mayors, the delegates. So all these leaders that will have emerged from the primaries in the districts and the parliamentary level will all converge in Nambole or Kororo to discuss and deliberate on the Uganda we want for the next 5 years. And we call upon the public to tell their members of parliament, all those elected officials that are vying for different political positions, they will all be in Nambole to what a Uganda they want. If you say the tax is high, what would you allow for tax negotiation? Because taxes are killing people. Businessmen are suffering. Their businesses are collapsing because of high taxes. Businessmen are supplying government entities. Their money is getting clogged there, not come back into the economy. Can we put a condition how far or how long should a tender, or when a supplier has supplied government, how long should it be to be paid, so that there is a cash flow in the economy? In that way, those are some of the deliberations as people and entrepreneurs should think about. As people in other sectors, we should, other leaders of the party, in a general perspective, we should start thinking of a generational mix. The generational mix transition has already taken place. In the UPDF, you can see that it's going on. We have the youngest parliament. You can see that our commander-in-chief has deployed most of the young people, the comrade Ogwangs, the Anites, into mentoring into where the future should go. President Museveni the other day told the business people who are protesting that he's in his evening years, how are we preparing ourselves, our readiness to take over from the old guards? So that should be the process and the discussion that we should have.
Right.
Clear indicators in all sectors of the economy. Right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Philip Kakuru, for visiting UBC TV on Good Morning Uganda. And I will close with this comment from Bwino Abu, who says, I have liked the man. His idea is so good. For sure, people are stuck with businesses. We need such people. Congratulations to him. He has already won.
Thank you. I take it.
Good morning, Uganda. That's it for today. Let's do this again tomorrow on a Friday. And the Friday edition is one that kickstarts your weekend officially. But for now, have a good day. Remember to go for the Musevenomics Conference. That is one word that should be added to the dictionary so that we learn how to pronounce it better. Musevenomics Conference happening at Mestil Hotel starting today until tomorrow. Good morning.
Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Uganda Development Forum, in partnership with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, is organizing a 2-day Musevenomics Conference on the 29th and 30th of May 2025. The conference is dedicated to exploring Uganda's revolutionary economic model under the theme, Sustaining Musevenomics, hence navigating Uganda's economic future in a disrupted world. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and the Chairman of Uganda Development Forum, General Salim Saleh, will lead a team of distinguished speakers in economics and development. The Musevenomics Conference 2025 is sponsored by Uganda Development Forum in partnership with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Uganda Development Corporation, Parish Development Model, and Operation Wealth Creation.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Looking for instant excitement? The Uganda National Lottery Spin for Cash game is now available online. Wherever you are, you can join the excitement for just 500, 1,000 and 2,000 Uganda shillings. Don't miss out. Register now on www.nationallottery.go.ug for a chance to win your share of 2 billion instantly. What are you waiting for? Play Spin for Cash now, anytime, anywhere. Ituba is the proud operator of the Uganda National Lottery.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort, and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels, and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukoto Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
When you want to relax your body and refresh your mind, welcome to Hotel La Confidential, Aroa's premier destination for luxury and comfort. The only hotel in Aroa City offering a serene atmosphere, breathtaking scenery. Come and discover our exclusive wellness club with packages that include a fully equipped gym, a rejuvenating sauna, steam bath, and a great sky blue swimming pool. For events, our state-of-art conference halls and versatile event spaces are perfect for hosting shows, wedding receptions, birthdays, and more. Come and enjoy our cinema hall and unisex saloon, all designed to meet your entertainment and grooming needs. Bring your family and let your kids splash around in our beautiful kids water park. We are located on Aroa Pakwachi Highway in the heart of Aroa City. Don't wait. Visit us on www.hotelconfidential.com or call us on 0761 688 181.
Juko. Yo. What you go? Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Okwongera okuyiga ebikwata ku musolo n'okubisembereza abagusasula. Bannayuganda bangi balina ebibuuzo ebikwata ku musolo gwe basasula eri ekitongole ekiwooza URA.
When we come at revenue, they tell us to clear kitenge at 10,000.
Alikuwa nafika kwa mwingine URA na kurespect nasema mzee tuongee. Munaongee. Akuna fika kwa mwingine na kamata faili yako naweka kwa drawer na
okutegeera obukulu bw'okusasula omusolo busobola okuyamba okuzza bizinesi yo n'okwewala okufiirizibwanga. Kati osobola okufuna